You're with the Breaker-Leggers. And we believe that live theatre is the most rewarding and impactful knowledge-based medium.
In fact, we spend all of our spare time in a theatre, seeing more than 80 live productions a year. If we didn't believe in it, then frankly, we'd be wasting our time.
Theatre is culturally universal, regardless of where each individual in this room is from. The shared experience of a people coming together to watch others perform is something which we all recognise. It's sort of what we're doing right now. This is kind of theatre.
Theatre is also not new, being popularised by the Greeks more than 2,500 years ago. But unlike many forms of entertainment, it has stood the test of time.
Living in the free world, we can choose to absorb the same information in many different ways. You can readily pick up a text of Shakespeare, Hamlet, say, and find yourself confronted with potentially alienating Elizabethan language, or an inability to make judgments on where the emphasis should sit or where the actions lie due to the sheer foreignness of it all.
Perhaps instead you'll choose to flick on Netflix and see if there's a movie adaptation that might be a bit more accessible. You have a read and you see that The Lion King is an adaptation of Hamlet. So you pop it on and come away believing that the Prince of Denmark was a singing feline.
Regardless of the adaptation you've seen, we believe you wouldn't have had the same experience staring at a screen as you would have had visiting a theatre and seeing a story physically come to life before your very eyes.
We can't pause or rewind the moment. We're forced to be present.
In theatre, the theatre actor has to present their lines as if it's the first time they are saying them, as if they have no idea what to expect or where they may be going to next. The audience as a whole collective breathe the same air as the actors. We are with them, and like a snowflake or a fingerprint, each performance is unique. It has never and will never be performed that way again. It's pretty powerful stuff.
A 2014 study conducted by the University of Arkansas found that a group of students attending a theatrical production of Hamlet exhibited enhanced knowledge of the plot, increased vocabulary, greater tolerance, and an improved ability to read the emotions of others over a control group of students who simply watched a film version, although presumably not the Lion King.
Presumably not there. Did it come up? Oh, there it is.
And there it is. Nah, go on, I don't know.
Theatre, the theatrical medium, can have a profound effect on our consciousness. A positive change in a student's mentality, as demonstrated by the previous study, can be seen on a wider scale when a theatrical production has changed or altered or shaped a complete society's view on a specific subject.
When Hair premiered on Broadway in 1968, it revolutionised the genre of musical theatre. The American youth had previously been depicted as God-fearing, rule-abiding and law-abiding children.
Hair broke these stereotypes by representing a counterculture that had previously been censored. It was also the first Broadway musical to feature full frontal nudity.
Hair's youth actually resembled reality, strong-minded, sexualised, and sharing strong thoughts and political leanings that weren't shared by their parents. They rejected Vietnam conscription and spoke out against fighting a questionable war that Uncle Sam had told them was their civic duty.
This fresh, bold and honest musical was initially met by anger from those who didn't share its message, resulting in violence and protests. Ultimately, the musical helped shift social opinion on those it depicted by helping to explain the opposing movement to typically white theatre middle-class audiences.
The late Donna Summer, a previous Hair cast member, said of that naked scene featured in the musical, We stood, it wasn't meant to be sexualised, we stood naked to comment on the fact that society makes more of nudity than it does of killing. Perhaps it was in that theatrical moment that the audiences were forced to reassess what was really worth getting angry about. Such is a theatrical experience and force on the consciousness of an entire society.
In some ways, the theatre and the cinema can have similarities, with the focus of your attention taking place in front of rows of seats, with the action up above you, and the audience watching in darkness and hopefully in silence.
Theatrical spaces, however... Is that you, Dan? Seriously? Theatrical spaces, however, can have different setups and arrangements. Perhaps the audiences are on all sides of a performance space, or the actors are making their way to the stage down the very same aisles that we've just walked down in order to take our seats.
This has the potential to immerse an audience even more, and seemingly it's working, apparent by the rise in immersive theatre.
Some of the most memorable theatrical experiences we've had have been with immersive theatre. This is where you are caught up in the action and the show takes place quite literally all around you.
Stripped of the right to be a passive observer, you are as much a part of the performance as the performers, never quite sure what is going to happen or where you may be taken to next.
A fantastic current example of a theatrical immersive experience is The Jungle, a remarkable new play by Joe Robinson and Joe Murphy, well done. Testing you there I was. Which is currently playing at the Playhouse Theatre here in London.
Miriam Buther's set design has completely transformed the traditional proscenium arch auditorium beyond all recognition. We don't enter into a theatre, we enter into the bustling Afghan cafe at the heart of the Calais Migrant and Refugee Centre. We don't enter into a theatre, we enter into the cafe, and as you make your way through what was once the stalls, you are there around food as it is being prepared, the aroma filling the smoke of the wooden framed shack you now find yourself in.
The actors are already assembled, interacting with each other and with you as they welcome their guests to their restaurant. You sit on wooden benches on a dirt-covered floor, and on makeshift tables sit food condiment items. The international news plays on TVs around the space, and the flags are draped with the walls are draped with the national flags of migrants from across the globe who now call this place home.
This is immersive theatre at its most powerful, as the actors play out the scenes and the stories of those who have inhabited the jungle so close you can touch them, and you cannot fail to be moved as a mother clinging to her child tells of her desperation to escape her war-torn homeland, where many of the people who she knew and relied on are now dead.
A young man stands before you, emotionally and physically scarred, as he talks about spending days crammed into the hull of a fishing boat, just hoping for a new life. Many of the people around him fall sick and die, or some are swept overboard, never again setting foot on land.
Unlike watching TV or the news, we couldn't change the channel. Mainstream media has stopped covering stories of the Calais camp since its demolition in 2016. But the refugees are still out there, still in need.
The message from the piece is current, alive and vital. Hear our story, help us.
We were engaged, moved, enlightened, and changed from the moment we left, as were many of the audience around us.
At the opening of the 2016 Tony Awards, James Corden said, "Theatre is a place where every race, creed, gender and sexuality is equal, is embraced and is loved. Hate will never win." Perhaps the same can be said of theatre audiences, equal in their vulnerability, sat alone in the darkness, waiting to be enlightened.
So, we urge you now, while in this capital city, which creates some of the most brilliant, awesome, amazing theatre with incredible talent, to go out there and join the observers in the dark. Be in the room, where it happens. Open yourself up and absorb the tales being told and the songs being sung. Let it affect your consciousness and take you on a journey to open your mind and your souls.
Because in words taken from the Cyndi Lauper penned musical lyrics, Kinky Boots, you change the world when you change your mind. We're the Breaker Leggers, and we'll catch you again soon. Thank you.